Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. It's Friday, and we usually like to have a positive video on Friday. So I would like to address the two most offensive words in the English language. I can't. That's going to be our focus today. Now, let me preface this, let me clarify, put in a little disclaimer that honestly, there's people with disabilities that cannot do things. You know, if you're missing your legs, then you're not going to be able to compete outside of the Special Olympics. That's unfortunate, and disabled athletes deserve a lot of credit. But that method of saying I can't because you are physically not able to, and there's so many disabilities, and I'm just going to leave it at disabilities, whether they're mental or physical or whatever. I respect that I can't. But most of the time when people say I can't, they mean something entirely different. Couple stories to preface this. When I was young, I wanted to be a lawyer. Yeah, old Silverlight wanted to be a lawyer. And you know what? I was good enough to be a lawyer. But what happened to me is right when I was sitting down to fill out my applications for university, a person who I trust very much, and still do to this day, gave me some advice. And I listened to them. And I said, I can't. Now, the advice they gave me was not that I wasn't capable of becoming a good lawyer. It was, okay, once you get your education, then you have to buy into a practice. You have to do this. You have to get a job as this and do blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, I don't really want to be doing all that stuff. Because at the time, I was young and dumb. So I chose a different career path. Liberal arts major. Yeah, I study ancient texts and psychology. But you know what? I've never said I can't. When I was working in logistics, I kind of became the company's de facto lawyer wherever I went, because they knew I would read the emails, I would read the documents, I would find the things that we did not want to do. And they found that out very quickly, and I kind of became a de facto lawyer. I always liked it because companies try to pass things off in their contract, like if anything happens, you go to court in a state of our choosing and you pay for our defense. And that's really for the judge to decide, but they had it written into the contract. So they were smart, they were skeevy enough to sneak away your rights. Little things like that. And in a big document, you got to read it all. I didn't want to learn how to deal with the government, but I learned, because when something comes up, lawyers are expensive. You know what? I know how to read. And while I'm not as quick as a lawyer, I can read through the text. Yes, it's boring, and it's, blah, 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 and this refers to this case, blah, 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 see section, subsection 32, whatever the case might be. But I never say I can't, unless I physically cannot do something. Like I can't make my cat levitate. Maybe somebody else can. Maybe they're better than I am. But I'd like to think I'm a little bit clever. But not so clever that I'm better than everybody else. Everybody can do that. They just don't want to. And case law is really not that bad. I mean, don't try to defend yourself in a murder trial. Then you're just begging for problems. Even traffic court, it's finicky. But a lot of small claim stuff, you don't need a lawyer. You just need to do some education and be prepared to be polite. We'll get back to that being polite in a minute. Another thing I see this in is children. I can't do that. Well, they don't know how to. I've got a kid going through school, and one of the things we do with her is math problems. And, the times tables and stuff like that, there's only so many times you can write 7 times 7 to wait for your kid to come up with the right answer. So I switched her over to word problems. And at first she said, I can't do that. I said, no, let's sit down and read it together. And I explained it to her, and really all I'm looking for was the thinking process. And now, less than a couple months since I started doing this, she's an expert at these word problems. It's getting hard for me to fool her. And that's what I want to see, the thought process. So she went from saying I can't to being able to do it. There's another form of I can't that's probably every single one of us has come across. The call center I can't. Now this one, let's be fair for a moment. The call center employees you deal with are probably not making much over minimum wage. They're entry-level people, they're either new or they haven't been trained to the fullest extent, or legitimately they have very little power to influence any outcome. They're there basically to process payments and decide what goes on. So when they're saying I can't, they're probably telling you the truth. But the trick is, okay, Silverlight's going to give you a life hack here. Don't argue with them. Don't argue. It's frustrating. You've been waiting on hold. This person finally answers the phone. Maybe the chemistry's there, maybe it isn't. And then they say they can't help you with whatever your matter is. Trick is not to try to get it. Why can't you do it? Put me in this, blah, blah, blah. Just calm down and say, okay, what can you do to help me? Try not to feed them at first. Because let them think, okay, what can we do to fix this problem? Then on their own, they may decide, oh, I'll put you to a manager. Because the second you say, give me your manager, you're in the bad person list and you're going dead last in line if they pick up at all. And if they, what can you do to help me? I don't know. And then you start feeding them. Well, is there a department that can take care of this? Is there someone that you can ask? Be polite. It'll kill you, but you're going to get places. And that's the biggest trick. Get out of the I can't trap. Because that's what it is. It's a trap. The second you say I can't, barring real disability, whether it's physical, mental, or anything else, but there's some things that are physically impossible. But in any company, that first person may not be the person in charge or able to help you, but they'll know somebody who is. And the most important I can't trap for this and every other day, I can't take this anymore. This is a highly personal one for me. I've had a lot of friends who have surrendered to it. And you know what? I understand. Even before the pandemic, the pressures of life get to be pretty horrendous. And yeah, it's easy to get overwhelmed. Couple setbacks, and I'm not talking little things like you lost your wallet. I mean, you've lost your house and you're living on the street and you're in a shelter. Yeah, life looks horrible. But I'm going to tell you a little secret about Silverlight. I've been there. I've done that. I didn't say I can't. Well, I did for about 15 minutes. And then I started saying, okay, what do I have in my power that I can make happen? And there wasn't a lot. But there was a way that I could make my situation better. And here I am, 20 years later, not to the day, roughly, but here I am about 20 years later in a much better situation. It's just because I turned I can't into I can. And that's how you have to start addressing your problems. Get out a pen and paper. Instead of saying what you can't do, write down your obstacles and write down what you can do about them. I owe $10,000 on a student loan. Okay, what can you do about it? Well, I can pay $20 a month. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, I need to call them up and arrange to pay this, blah, blah, blah. And then you suddenly have a plan that you can go through, cross off each line and say, yeah, I did that. Almost everything in life, like I said, some things are impossible. I can't make my cat levitate using only my mind, but I can give my cat a happy place to live, to have food, and all that sort of things. That's something I can do. And it's much better for the cat than levitating it. But break the problem down. Don't say I can't. Don't let it overwhelm you, because it's easy to get depressed. And this is not a cure-all for depression. Depression is a legitimate disability. Don't make fun of people with depression. I'm giving you a methodology. If you are in any sort of healthy headspace, you can turn I can't into I can with something as easy as a list. If you're not a pen and paper person, no problem. They have spreadsheets, they have notebooks, they have all sorts of ways to take care of that. But just remember, you can do it. There's always a tool. And your best tool is your mind. Make that list. Heading. I need to shovel the snow, but I broke my leg. Okay. Do I have any friends that owe me favors? Is there a way I can talk to my neighbor and give them $20 or whatever it might be? Is the snow really that bad? There's all these things. See, just in a couple seconds, I came up with those. I'm not more clever than anybody that's listening. So you know what? Try to avoid saying I can't. And especially when you're in a bad mood. Turn that bad mood around by trying to plan. Even if some things look ridiculous, put them down. Because maybe you'll look at that list a second time and see the things that you can do and say, you know what, I can make that phone call right now. You know what, I finished that phone call. They gave me this other person to contact that relates to this other thing. And then all of a sudden you start crossing those things off your list. And something you couldn't do is all of a sudden done. So, lesson for today, don't say I can't. Say, this is what I can do. Don't be intimidated by people, don't be rude to them, and find out what they can do for you. Basically, just make that expression smaller. I can't is C-A-N apostrophe T. Just lose the apostrophe T. I can do this, I can do that. Because you don't think of what you can't do on a given day. You don't think, oh, I can't do anything this weekend. You think, hey, I can call my buddy Charlie. Or, hey, I can go catch that movie that nobody else I know likes. You're not thinking, oh, I can't go out because whatever. Again, except for a disability. But it's important to remember what you can do because you use I can in your mind a lot more than I can't. I can't shuts you off, whereas I can empowers you. So empower yourself. Give yourself the I can. Because together, we can do everything. We wish to thank you for joining us for this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, subscribe. Help support the show. We sell ebooks for 99 cents, less than the price of a cup of coffee. The link will be listed below. Or you can purchase one of our ebooks for under $10. So that's the price of a cup of coffee a day for a week. And you get to keep the book forever. The coffee, not so much. You can reach out and talk to us at Silverlight Live. That's on Twitter at Silverlight Live. But most importantly, whatever happens, we hope you remember that you can and we can do this. And we hope you have a fantastic day.